As of right now, millions of people around the world are highly concerned about the United States getting involved in a war. However, this may be a proxy war. We right now see the United States continue to assist places like Ukraine and Israel. Because of that, it's putting more tensions between the United States and Russia, the United States and Iran, and other countries as well. What I can tell you today is that President Biden dropping out of the upcoming presidential election, that is huge, because that means there's a lot more uncertainty, especially between the United States and Russia, also Ukraine, and the United States and Israel, and also, Iran. One thing I can tell you though is what Russia is doing right now. They're offering a huge incentive. They're paying people tens of thousands of dollars as an initial sign-on bonus just to enter into this war. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain why a new president could be devastating not just to the United States, but to the rest of the world as well. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. First, let's discuss one of the big problems that many countries are having, and that is that their recruitment into the military is down. The United States has been experiencing this for decades, and Russia is experiencing this just now. Look at this. It says Russia is offering Moscow residents a record $22,000 to fight in Ukraine. Now, why would they do this? Well, the reason why they're doing this is simple. Russia doesn't have the numbers that they once did. They have lost thousands and thousands of lives in this war that has lasted about 3 years. This war was not supposed to last 3 years. Russia expected they were just come in and wipe out Ukraine. They would take over the entire country. Well, it hasn't happened. And it's because Europe and the United States have both vowed to continue to support Ukraine as much as possible. Whether it's through weapons, through financial assistance, we don't know. But it's been a huge, huge help. Now, look at this. It says, anyone taking up the offer would earn as much as 5.2 million rubles. It's $59,600 in their first year of service, the statement added. It says those willing to join the fight in Ukraine can also receive a one-time cash payment of about $5,690 to $11,390 for injuries, depending on the severity, and the family of a soldier killed in action could be paid $34,150. Again, keep in mind that they are expecting injuries and casualties from Russian soldiers. This is one of the reasons why many people are not enlisting to get into the Russian military. Why do they want to do that? Why would they want to go into a war where there's a high chance they're going to be injured or their life will be taken from them? That's why they're trying to give them money. Here's the other thing that you need to understand. Russia is offering this. They understand where they're at, that they have to do something and they need to do it soon, or else they risk that the United States could come back at them, could come back, give Ukraine even more money. Here's one of the reasons why. Because President Biden has backed out of the upcoming election, which means it's right now coming down to two candidates. We have former President Donald Trump, who some are a little concerned with what his plan is to end this war. And then we have Vice President Kamala Harris as of today. Well, look at this. This was back on June 15th. It says Vice President Kamala Harris announces over $1.5 billion to bolster Ukraine's energy sector, address humanitarian needs, and strengthen civilian security. So $1.5 billion is not an excessive amount of money, especially to fund a war. Okay, it was a very small amount, especially when we've sent over $100 billion to Ukraine under the Biden administration. But it just shows that Kamala Harris is willing to do a little bit more for Ukraine. The concern, though, and they talk about here in the AP, says Biden's withdrawal from the U.S. presidential race spells new uncertainty for Ukraine. But how much uncertainty is there? Well, let's look at this. It says the prospect of victory for former President Donald Trump, the Republican contender, has long concerned Kyiv, which fears he would choke off support and force Ukraine to sue for peace on terms that favor Russia. The Kremlin launched its full-scale invasion in early 2022, leading to more than 2 years of war. So they're concerned that former President Donald Trump would pretty much put Ukraine on its own. Like, you have to figure this out. We are going to cut off our support for you guys. You need to do this on your own. And by doing so, the expectation is that Russia is going to take over more of Ukraine's territory. They are going to get a little bit further into Ukraine, which means they're also closer to NATO allies. Now, this is where some are expecting that's when the United States may need to get involved. Keep in mind, many people inside the Biden administration have been expecting President Biden to drop out eventually. And so that's why so many people were not publicly supporting President Biden, because there was really no point if they knew he was going to drop out. According to recent reports, his health has been really deteriorating. We haven't seen him since he became sick. Okay? So again, that's troubling. He's going to speak today, but again, it's troubling. Now, here's what's very interesting though. If people within the Biden administration knew that President Biden was going to drop out, there was going to be a new candidate, which as of right now, it looks like it's going to be Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, the concern is, what have we been doing before? What have we been doing to get ready for this moment? Well, here's the thing. If Vice President Kamala Harris does become the next president, or maybe it's another woman or somebody else, doesn't matter. But if it is, what is one of the things that we have been discussing about women recently? It's about women being required to enroll in selective service in the upcoming draft. Keep in mind, the United States has had abysmal numbers as far as recruitment. They're trying to do more to get more people into the U.S. military. It's not really working, especially right now. So because of that, there's a lot of speculation that they've known that President Biden was going to drop out. Vice President Kamala Harris would be the likely front runner. So what do? We include women in selective service. Remember, that was about a month ago. We've done a lot of videos on that. So it's interesting. Now Russia is going to pay people up to $22,000. They're going to give people money if their family member becomes injured or they actually lose their life, right? They're publicly telling you how much your life is worth. That's where they're at. Now, what I think is interesting, though, is all this comes down to who is going to be the next president. We don't know. Keep in mind, Russia and the United States have had tensions for some time. This issue with Ukraine, this war, it only intensifies this. But how is President Trump going to handle this? Well, he may put Ukraine on its own and say, you figure it out. We are going to focus on us. You focus on you. Where Vice President Kamala Harris may do actually a little bit more for Ukraine, provide some support or continue support. And if that happens, is she going to focus more on Ukraine versus the United States? Versus the problems we have here, like the U.S. southern border, right? Our energy, right? What is she going to focus on? That's something we are still waiting to hear. So we'll see what happens in the near future. But I just wanted to share this with you that Russia is going to offer their citizens $22,000 to enlist in their military. It's a one-time signing bonus. That's probably something that's going to increase their numbers a little bit. But how much is it going to increase compared to what the United States is doing or other countries? So we'll see. I just wanted to share that with you. But again, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.